Okay, so today's lesson is creating equations and learning the difference between an expression and equation, and then taking those words in math and creating equations with them. So let's just do a little bit of a review that stuff that we already know, concepts that we already know. So what an algebraic write an algebraic equation, or what algebraic expression can you write from this statement? So 9 less than a number. Now remember, a number, oh, I need my pen. A number, since we don't know what it is we're going to give it a variable. I'm going to call it n today. Now remember, you can use any variable or any letter. There are certain letters we want to stay away from. 9 less than a number. I like to always say, I don't like that word. I'm going to say 9 take away from a number. Less than, take away, same thing. We know we're subtracting. So if I take away 9 from a number, I'm actually going 9 and minus 9. And subtraction always tends to give students a little bit of difficulty. So always say, what am I taking away? What is the meaning of the expression 6n plus 2? So this means 6 times some number, some number, or the product of 6 and a number, and 2 more. Okay? And the last thing is we're going to evaluate. So remember, when we evaluate, we always start with the expression. We're going to say, well, this means 5 times a number plus 3. So now I'm saying that that number is 4. So I am going to substitute, that's a good math term, the number in for the variable. Now if you choose to write it this way, because you still don't want to let go of that multiplication sign, that's also fine. They mean the exact same thing. And then we do the order of operations. So we do multiplication before we do addition, and then we evaluate. Same thing here. Doesn't matter which way you write it, we always do multiplication before addition, and we get 23. Okay? Another thing here is we really have to remember, I don't know where I put it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. This would probably be a good review. Remember, sum, increased, combine, plus, more than. They all mean add. Difference, decrease, less than, take away, subtract. And we had these words. We did these words in lesson 3. Okay, so we'll have to keep in mind these words. If you need to get your chart out just to remember, that might help you in this lesson. Okay, so in class I gave you this riddle. So I had you to think of a number, multiply it by 3, add 4, and the answer is 13. What is the original number? Now different students had different strategies on answering this. Some people just did trial and error and they tried different numbers. So if I think of a number and I multiply it by 3, okay, I'm going to think of a number and I'm going to multiply it by 3. So I'm going to pick the number 2. And I'm going to add 4. Well, that didn't give me 13. So I have to try think of a bigger number. And I'm going to add 4. And look at that, I got 13. So my number has to be 3. So that's one way you can do this. Another way is, okay, well, I'm going to start with 13. And instead of, if I go backwards, I should get back to the number. So I'm going to subtract 4. And instead of multiplying by 3, I'm going to divide by 3. Okay? So it doesn't matter which method you use, trial and error or working backwards, they're both great strategies for solving equations. So in class then I had you do your own riddle and switch with some partners. We're not going to do that here for obvious reasons. So we're just going to go on to the lesson. So there's a huge difference between an expression and an equation, and we have to talk about terminology first. Expressions have no equation sign, okay? And you'll always see the word evaluate with the word expressions. We always evaluate expressions. An equation is a statement that has two quantities that are equal. So therefore, we do have an equal sign. Okay. So equations have an equal sign, expressions do not. We evaluate expressions, we solve equations. Okay, so those are the key things, the key concepts I want you to understand. When we evaluate expressions and when we solve equations, completely different procedures. Okay, and solving equations we're going to do a little bit in lesson 8, and then we have a whole unit in unit 6 coming up. The word is always means equal. Okay, and where's my little word? We did talk about equal a little bit here in our words. Is, total, result, same as, equivalent to. Okay, different tenses of is, was, will be. Those all mean equal in math. Okay, so let's try. If you need your little word chart, then please feel free. We always start off a little bit with easier ones in class. So 3 more means to add, then a number, pick a variable. I'm going to pick R this time. Is means equals 15. You just wrote your first equation. Okay, notice it's an equation because we have an equal sign. Okay, so let's try a few more. 5 less than a number is 7. Again, this less than kind of confuses students, so let's say 5 take away from a number. So it's 5 take away from a number. So the number goes first, and we are taking away 5. Is means equals, and 7. A number subtracted from 5. So now we are taking away this one, a number taken away from 5. So 5 comes first in this case, and then we are taking away the number. Is means equals, and 1. A number divided by 3 is 10. So we're going to start with a number. We're going to divide it by 3. Is means equals, and we have 10. Now there is a different way we can write this. We can go n over 3 is equal to 10 as well. Both of these are equivalent equations. They mean the same thing. So this line right here that means to divide in math. 8 added to 3 times the number is 26. Now again, a few different ways we can write this, because we're going to eventually say goodbye to the multiplication sign because it looks too much like a variable. Okay, and because of the commutative property, we can switch to 3n and the 8 as well. So all of these are equivalent equations. They all mean the exact same thing. They would all be correct on a test. So let's try this. Zena bought 3 CDs. I always like to highlight my key information. Each CD costs the same amount. So each CD is the same. Each is a pretty key word there too. The total, which means the answer when you add, the total cost is 36. So if I don't, what is the cost of 1 CD? Okay, well we should know that 36, we're going to divide it by 3 and we should get $12. So we know that each CD is $12. But what happens if we didn't know that right off the top of our head and we needed to write an equation to represent this? Well, I can go n plus n plus n is equal to 36, right? Because total means to add. So if I add up the cost of each CD, I should get 36. Or another way of writing is 3n is equal to 36. Okay? Because I have 3 groups of n, I can multiply the cost of the CD by 3 and I get 36. So this is just writing equations into a conceptual problem. So now we have just some key concepts that we learned. Expressions have no equal sign. Remember, no equal sign, equation sign, and we evaluate. Equations do have an equal sign, and you solve. And they're completely different procedures, which you're going to learn in lesson 8. Again, your assigned work for today. Make sure you're checking your answers, and please let me know if you have any questions.